morning. I'm back with another knitting update for the week. I'm going to try to keep this as short and sweet to the point as I can, but I do have a lot to chat about. So let's just jump right on in. For starters, I am wearing the Douglas cardigan. It's a beautiful cardigan by Andrea Mowry. I knit mine in Lion Brand Woolies and Lion Brand Fisherman Wool. So it is woolly, it is warm, and it's got these super fun afterthought pockets that I think are my favorite thing on the whole cardigan. But the color scheme is just very me. A lot of colors I wear, and I love it. I don't wear this enough, but this morning I saw it and was like, it'd be a good day for that. So that is what I'm wearing. We are again back in my yarn room. It might sound a little more echoey this week because Jared has been revamping my room for me as we get ready to bring my knitting machine home, which is a whole saga. Let's just do that real quick. No, I don't have it yet. Is it here? Yeah, it's here at the APO apparently. However, I can't get in contact with anybody about it. I haven't got a slip in my mail to pick it up. Nothing. Tracking says that it's here. I have done an inquiry and I didn't hear anything back. I have emailed a point of contact there. I got nothing back. It's really frustrating. Unfortunately, our APO right now is a complete dumpster fire with the government shutdown. And then right before that, they fired some people and then they had a hiring freeze. And so it's understaffed. It's mega disorganized, and apparently it's been there for a week and I still have heard nothing. So this morning I did the one thing I didn't really want to do, but I need to get in contact with somebody because I'm not talking about a $30 Amazon lost package. I'm talking about I've paid thousands of dollars for this machine. It's big, it's heavy, and it's supposedly there. So can I just come pick it up, please? So I made an ICE complaint and asked for a reply, which means they have 24 hours to get back to you. So, hoping I hear something today. We'll see. I didn't want to have to go that route, but I was kind of left with no other option. It's not so much excitement getting to me. I just more so want to know where it's at and get it into my possession because apparently it's been here for a week and it's expensive and it's big and I need to coordinate when to take the car and I need help and yeah, so we'll see. But he has been revamping my room. He took out the little couch we had back here and kind of got it ready for me, which I'm really grateful for. So hopefully by this time next week, there'll be an update with it. We'll see. However, next weekend, we are doing our last trip of the year and our last train trip for this year. And we are going to Zurich, Switzerland. We're making a 4-day out of this, but we are going to Zurich for me because I am attending my first ever yarn festival. I'm so beyond excited for this. So, back in the States, there's Rhinebeck in upstate New York, which just happened, I think, like last weekend or the weekend before. There's Flock in the Pacific Northwest near the Seattle area that they do every August. And I've just never made it to any of them. Canada has, Knit City and all the different places. Never made it to that, but I found a yarn festival over here in Zurich and I decided to go. My first ever yarn festival and I'm so excited for it. It is next weekend. I'm only doing one day. The festival is 2 days, but I only bought 1 day tickets because I figured the other day will be touring. And I'm hoping to be able to, or hoping to remember to take some video and pictures to share my experience of a yarn festival over here. There's a lot of people who get to go to Rhinebeck and Flock and I don't think a lot of people are ever going to get the opportunity to come over here for something like this. So I'm going to try to remember to document as much as I can and share my first ever yarn festival. I watched Nora, aka Nora Knits, on here, her Rhinebeck like compilation video from her weekend, and I think the biggest thing I took away from that was to just maybe have a list on my phone of things to keep an eye out for. Not necessarily like a checklist of things I need to get, but just things to be aware of and to just like have fun. Not go in like knowing I need to find this and this and this. It takes away the joy and it makes you super stressed. Especially with me never being to one of these before. I really am not sure what to expect. So I don't want to go in there, you know, with a huge list of things, you know, to get, but just to have maybe a couple patterns in the back of my mind of, you know, that I want to make and have the yarn weight and yardage already sorted out so that I can just, when I find something I like, you know, look at the list and see. So that's my plan. I'm hoping to remember to take some video so I can share it on here, because I think that would be really fun to share that weekend. But I'm getting very excited. It's coming up really quick. So I'm doing like my last minute planning. I'm looking at vendors and double checking my public transportation because we're staying a little bit outside of Zurich. So I'll have to train in for it. And also trying to figure out what I'm going to have my boys do because they're not coming with me. I'm going alone, which kind of sucks. I wish I had somebody to go with, but it's okay. Aiden and Jared are going to have a fun afternoon. I don't know if they're going to go to the zoo or the chocolate factory or something. But they'll be doing something while I go do my thing. So that's next weekend. All right, let's talk about my finished object first. Because I have new cast-ons, I have finished objects, I have current projects, I have whips, but they're in timeout. So I'll talk about those. And yeah, let's start with the finished objects. So the first one I shared about last week, and that was the hipster hat by Petite Knit. I was making it for my niece. I had just finished my nephew's the week before. These are Christmas presents. I'm in Christmas mode over here, and I cast hers off the other day. Isn't it so sweet? This is the Petite Knit hipster hat. It is a 2x2 ribbed hat. I used Malabrigo Rios in the colorway Peachy, which is, I think, is the perfect name for this because you got these beautiful pinks, then you have this like orangey bit. It's gonna look so beautiful. My niece has this beautiful deep red hair with curls, and it's just, I think it's gonna look super cute. So this is Malabrigo Rios, which it is a worsted weight. Now the pattern calls for a DK weight, which I did. This is my nephew's hat, same hat, just a little bigger because he's older. And this is a DK weight. It's a superwash DK weight. I used leftover yarn from Aiden's Christmas vest to make his. Now, this is what the pattern calls for, but this is a worsted weight. I did have a friend reach out and ask me, have I made it in a worsted? Pattern calls for DK. I said, yes, I've made it in both. And even before this, I think this is like my 5th and 6th one or something. I've used both. The gauge doesn't change much. And especially when we're talking about like accessories like this, gauge is important, but it's not, maybe if it was like a fingering weight to a DK, but this is a DK to a worsted. It's not much of a difference. If you were to ask me what the big difference is, I would just say this one's a little thicker than this one. It didn't change my gauge much, like really at all. But I prefer the feel and fit of the DK over the worsted. It's just a personal preference, but I have used both without issue. However, I will say Malabrigo Rio is more like a light worsted. So it's closer to a DK, I feel, than any other worsted. Like a Derirum Natura Gilead. Like, I don't know if I would do that. I feel like that would be too thick. But, yes. her little hat is done, which means I only have one more Christmas gift, which I'll get to in a moment. But I want to share my other finished object. And you're probably like, what? You see, I had a new cast on and a new finished object, and you guys didn't even know I was doing it. Saturday, I came back here to my yarn room. I picked up 2 skeins of yarn because I had an idea in my brain about a pattern I just bought the other week, and I couldn't get it out. So I was like, just put yarn to needle and do it. So I did. This pattern is called My Lovely Goose Toy. It's on Etsy by a designer named May Lily Knitting. This is my first time ever doing one of her patterns, but I just thought this little goose is just the cutest thing I've ever seen. And I had a lot of ideas of how to, you know, things to do with this goose. And so I just decided I wanted to make it. So I would love to introduce to you Gerald, the goose. Is he not just the sweetest little thing you've ever seen? So Gerald here is filled with polyfill all over, except his little bum. In his bum, I have sewed a pouch of poly beads so that he can just sit if he wants to sit. And it makes him a little weighted and super cuddly. This pattern was great. It was very well written. I don't think there was any point where I was questioning anything. I'm trying to think. It was very well written. She holds her hand through it. And the final piece, he's just so cute. You know, a lot of people would ask what's my favorite thing to knit. And obviously, yeah, I love knitting sweaters because I love getting to wear what I make. But I really love knitting these little knit loveys because I just love seeing them come to life. You know, with this, like you start with 8 stitches. You cast on 8 stitches and then it becomes this. And I think that's just amazing. I love watching it come to life and all the little details, like these beautiful wings that, you know, decrease, and I just think it's amazing. All the little details that you can put into something like this. But more so, I love knitting these because Aiden loves these little things. And it's really fun because he also sees it from the beginning. He sees me casting it on and working on it, and then he sees it come to life, and it's that moment you see him realize what this is. And it's just so exciting. I usually have to fight him to give it back to me. I'm like, buddy, I'm not done. Like, I gotta finish it. But he's always so excited. He loves these things. They all sit on his bookshelf, and when he wants one, he grabs them all. Like, just big old scoop and carries them out. So I'm really excited to add Gerald to his little collection. In Gerald, I sewed a pouch yesterday, and it's something special that I do for Aiden. Aiden never got to meet Poppy. Poppy is my grandpa, and he was just like the best. But my mom gave me some of his old t-shirts, and so I cut out pouches and sew them together and fill them with poly beads, and I put them in all of his little stuffed animals so that he has a little piece of Poppy with him. And so that was the last thing I had to do. I started him Saturday night and I finished him yesterday morning, which was merely just sewing the pouch and closing his bum. That was it. Other than that, he was done. He was a pretty quick knit. But he's absolutely adorable. He's so cute. So this is the project that I cast on and finished that you had no idea about. Sorry. But he was a super fun weekend project. However, he took up my entire weekend. I didn't knit anything else. So without further ado, because I can't put it off anymore, let's take a look at my Olga sweater. Now I did get some progress done on this. I think last week when I talked, I had just finished the front and I connected. I haven't touched it since Friday. I will explain why in a moment, but let me show you what I did at least accomplish last week. We are officially connected in the round, and we are onto the body. That's the armpit. That's how far I knit. So we're moving. It's just a very slow moving situation, okay? I'm a little stalled out, if I'm completely honest. It's not that it's boring. I mean, stripes is very, like, interactive. You knit 4 rows, and you switch colors, then you knit 4 rows, and you switch colors. I just think because I'm on the body now, I'm just kind of burning out, which I hate. But the good news is I only have 2 projects actively on my needles, so I am hoping to get a little more done, or a little more work on this here soon. And with my train ride next weekend, I could get a good chunk of this done, I feel. So I'm going to pick it back up this weekend, or this week, I should say. And hopefully by next week I'll have a little bit more to show you. I do feel a little bad about this, but Gerald took up my entire weekend. I didn't touch anything else. So there's not much to show on this. I promise next week will be better. I'm sorry. But I did cast on something new. After I finished my niece's hat, I only had one more Christmas gift. So Christmas is a little odd this year. I don't exactly know what's going on. We're going home to Ohio, and I don't really know what we're doing for the big family stuff. All I know is we're focusing it all on the kids because we don't have a lot of suitcase space to bring stuff back. But Christmas morning is what my focus is on at the moment. And Christmas morning, my parents never get to do Christmas morning anymore. No kids live at home. So, you know, my sister lives in a neighboring town, but she's got a family and they do their thing on Christmas morning. But we will be home this year. We're staying with my mom and dad, which means they're going to get to join in on our Christmas morning. So I've decided to each make them something just so that they feel included as well. My mom's has been done for a while, but I'm not going to share it here because, hi Mom, I know you're watching. I'm going to see you soon. It'll have been over a year since I've seen my parents, which I think is the longest that I've gone without seeing them. It's really difficult. Don't get me wrong, I love living our life over here in Germany, but I miss my family a lot. So the countdown is on to see them. We're so excited. But my mom's has been done. I'm not sharing that because I know she watches this, but I'll share my dad's because my dad doesn't watch this. I decided to make him just a scarf. My dad's kind of hard to knit for. Just trying to find something for him. I landed on a scarf. I'm using the remainder, don't worry, there's 2 more back there, the remainder of Jared's main color for his Christmas sweater. Yes, I have 2 more back there. Remember, I said I'm an overestimator, but the yarn does get used. Exhibit A. So this yarn is from A Spare Room, my friend Nicole, which I'm going to talk more about her in a little bit because she helped me troubleshoot something that has been a headache for over 2 years now. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But the yarn was dyed by her. I'm just doing a basic scarf and a 2x2 rib. Why? I don't know. I'm so over 2x2 and I'm tired of doing 2x2 rib, but I cast on and was like, let's make a 2x2 scarf. Because I'm an idiot. I don't know. But this is what I have so far of my dad's. I cast this on yesterday. So I got a good little chunk done. Now I am going to block it so it doesn't sit like that, but more so sits like this. Just stretch it a little bit. I think that's going to look better. It's just a little tight right now. So I'm working on this. It's a very mindless knit. This is going to be great for the train ride. It's going to be great for my day at Knit Fest. Something I can pick up, put down, and not lose where I'm at. It's one of those really great projects. So it is a mindless knit. Both of my current active whips are mindless knits, which is awesome. So we're working on it. I don't have a timeline for this, obviously, before we go home for Christmas. I would love to get it done because I do have some stuff that I have to fix of my mom's when I go back home. So before we fly home to Ohio, this needs to get done. So I have like a month. But that is my new cast on. And those are all my projects. I know, there's not much. However, I want to talk about this yarn that has been a thorn in my side for over 2 years now. I'm actually going to take the label off. I'm not going to like publicly bash this designer, but if you do and are curious about who I'm talking about, just message me and I'll gladly tell you the situation of what happened. So a couple years ago, I ordered yarn from this designer. I've never bought her yarn before, but the pictures were stunning. The collection itself was stunning. I fell in love with this one colorway, and it was described as red with tan undertones, and immediately was like, Christmas sweater this year. That's what I want. So I ordered a sweater quantity, and something you may not know about indie dyers is it's not cheap yarn. You can pay anywhere from $30 to $35 a skein. And I bought a sweater quantity of this yarn. Do the math. I have 5 skeins of it. So I was so excited to get this yarn, and I opened my package and was severely disappointed. This yarn was not red with tan undertones. This yarn was Malibu Barbie pink with no tan. Some random speckles. Merry Christmas to me. I reached out to the designer. I never heard back. There's no returns. Final sale. This is what I'm stuck with. This is not Christmas. This just screams Malibu Barbie to me. It's hot pink. There's no red. It's pink. So I stuck it on my shelf and was gonna deal with it another day. Because in my brain, I had a Christmas sweater on the mind, and this doesn't scream Christmas. So, sat on my shelf for over a year. Last year, I decided, okay, we gotta sort this out, because I have put too much money into this yarn for it to just sit here. So I decided to go to my local yarn shop. I picked up a red mohair, a super deep red mohair, and I swatched. I swatched with just the yarn. I swatched holding the mohair with this yarn, and then I was going to swatch holding this with a tan cashmere. And the red looked great. Like, it looked so much better. And I was like, wow, that's looking more Christmassy than just this on its own. So I was like, okay, well, we can do that. But I wasn't sold. Mohair is not my favorite. It's very itchy to me. And also I still wasn't 100% in love with it. And it's hard to want to work with a yarn when you just despise it so much. To the point I couldn't even come up with a pattern for what I wanted to make with it. Because I'm going to make it and I'm going to hate it. Because I hate this yarn. So, on the shelf for another year. Well, my friend Nicole had a spare room, shared on her Instagram that she just got a new base in, and it's a brushed merino. So it's got the fluff factor of a mohair, but it's merino, which to me is softer. Like, I love merino yarn. So I was like, oh, that is really cool. And it's like 600 some yards a skein. And I was like, that it's a lace weight, so you hold it with something. And I was like, oh, I really like that. So I reached out to Nicole and I was like, hey, help. And she has heard the saga of this yarn. And I said, what do you think we could do? I really like that brushed mohair. I said, do you think like a red would look good with it? Because I already knew red looked okay. I've seen that. And she said, what if we go with a dark burgundy or like a cranberry, so that when you hold it with it, it's more like a mulled wine? And immediately I was like, a glue vine sweater, because I needed to think about this yarn in a different way. The way I was thinking about it, I was never going to work with it. And I was like, oh my gosh, make it like a mulled wine, like a glue vine. And she was like, let me dye up a test skein and get back to you. And so then I got excited about it, which is what I needed, because I hated this yarn and I didn't want to work with this yarn, but now we're putting a spin on it. And if you know anything about me, you know how much I love the Christmas markets over here. I love going and getting, you know, your hot mug glühwein or hot apple cider, whatever you choose, walking around the market and just, you know, looking at all the stalls, and it's just truly magical. It's one of my favorite things over here. And I love being able to switch my brain and be like, this is no longer Barbie yarn. This is going to become my glühwein sweater. This is going to be a way for me to remember my time at the Christmas markets here. And now I'm ready to knit. Now I want to make this sweater. And so she actually just messaged me this morning. I want to share the photos. And she even swatched with it for me to give me an idea. But she went with a dark cranberry, and she just nailed it. She nailed this yarn. And the swatch, she held it with a red, a hot pink, and a white. It's exactly what she said. Make it a mulled wine. And it is. And so I'm so excited. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm just really super stoked that this is going to get used. So now I need to find a pattern. But for those of you who have followed me on Instagram and you know about this Barbie yarn, I'm so excited because we're finally going to get to work with it. We're finally changing it up, and I'm going to make something I'm going to love. I just know it. And it's all thanks to Nicole. So go and check her out on Instagram and on Etsy. She just got this brushed merino in, and it looks so glorious. She just shared this morning. I saw she is making a pair of mittens with it, and they look so scrumptious. So thank you, Nicole, for helping me troubleshoot this. I'm actually really excited now to get moving. So that's another reason I really want to finish this Olga sweater, because I'm excited to do this glühwein sweater. I also know I'm going to be getting stuff in Zurich, so I want to make sure I clear the path so that I could cast on some stuff if I really want to. So finished objects done, whips done, new sweater done, sock machine we spoke about. Oh my gosh, is that everything? I think it is. I do want to share though 3 whips. So I have my active whips, my Olga sweater, my dad's scarf, but I do have 3 other whips that are in timeout. Well, 2 are in timeout. One of them only gets worked on 2 hours a week, which I'll explain. But I did want to share what else is on my needles at least. What else is at least sitting in timeout. Because I get to this time of year and I do like to try to clean out all of my whips. So I start my new year fresh with nothing on my needles. But this year I don't think it's going to happen, and I'll explain. So the first one, let's start with the one that's been on my needles the longest. That is a Christmas decor item. I started last year. Now I have made the Christmas baubles. They're hanging back here. I have made the Christmas baubles for this garland already. And I actually just made garland for my living room, the Christmas trees and the Christmas baubles. When this gets done, I'll put that on it. But let me just show you. Also, yeah, I'm getting sick. Jared got really sick this week and then just decided to share it because he just loves me so much. So after talking for a while, I started feeling it. But this is a seasonal garland. It's literally looks like leaves, okay? It's super cute, but it is very time consuming to just make one of the leaves. There's a lot of casting on and casting off, and there's so much involved in just making 3 of the leaves. But Jared really wants me to make this. So whenever he brings it up, I start to feel guilty that I haven't worked on it, and I'll do 3 leaves. So maybe I just need to have him bring it up a couple more times, because that's when I work on it. Maybe by next Christmas it'll be done, but I just don't have a lot of motivation to work on it, and I think that's just why I haven't picked it up. But I really do want to make it. It is going to be really beautiful, and I love decorating with things that I've made. So this is one of the things that sits out at my spot but just doesn't get picked up very often. And then the other thing, this is the one thing that only gets worked on 2 hours a week. This is what I take to therapy. When I take Aiden to speech and OT, this bag is what I pick up. And I only work on it at therapy, so twice a week, 1 hour each. And I am working on a shawl. I think the shawl is called Playful. It's a striped shawl, and I only work on it at therapy. So I'm pretty far for only working on it at therapy, but yeah. I love shawls. I just don't make them very often because they take forever. I've been working on this for over a year now. Maybe if I like worked on it outside of it, but I just don't. I like having a project I only work on there. So eventually it'll get worked on more and I'll eventually get it done. I don't know how long I'm gonna make it. Obviously longer than this, but you know, it is gonna be super cute. It is a striped sweater, but I'm using a variegated yarn for the one, which I'm really liking. But like I said, I only work on it twice a week for an hour each. So go in the bag. And then the last whip, this one is in timeout, okay? It's in timeout because it hurt me. I started this in January, and it is a sweater for Jared. However, I shouldn't say it hurt me. It was a couple things. It was smaller needles with thicker yarn, and it's an acrylic yarn, so it doesn't move very smoothly. Also, I was sitting incorrectly. I was sitting and resting my arms, which you can't do, and it gave me tennis elbow in both of my arms. So I actually put this up since February because it hurt my arms a lot. And so part of me's kind of been scared to pick it back up again because of that. But I know it was my fault. It wasn't the sweater's fault. But I need to pick it up again because I'm really far on it. This is the single malt sweater. It's this all over texture, beautiful sweater that I'm making for Jared. And I love it. I love the texture. I think it's super striking. And I'm almost done with the body. It's a worsted weight yarn, so I mean it moves quick, but I just haven't picked it back up. So I am hoping to at least pick it up and get some motivation for it again before the end of the year. Maybe after I finish my Oka sweater. I don't know. We'll see. All I know is like the hard part of this is done. I just have a little more on the body to do, and then the sleeves. So like I'm almost there. Just need to keep going. So we'll see. But he's sitting in timeout. Now all of these do sit out at my spot on the couch, but they just don't all actively get worked on. So I'm hoping by the end of the year to maybe get at least this, because I want Jared to be able to start wearing his stuff. So we'll see. But those are like my whips, but they're not like actively being worked on. But I do like to share those because every now and then I may pop those up for an update of like, hey, I got a little bit done on this. Take a look. I think that's all. Yeah, I think that's everything. I'm just looking back at my yarn to make sure I didn't forget anything. Yeah, that's all my whips, current, like active and timeout ones. Talked about my glue vine finished objects. Oh my gosh, that's all I have to say today. My plan is to come on again next week before we go to Zurich. However, that may change if it gets to be Wednesday and I start stressing because I still have stuff to figure out for Zurich. But I should still be able to. I'm hoping to get a good chunk of my Olga done to share next week. I really did throw it to the side this weekend, and I would like to get a little more done on it. So that's the goal. We'll see. I also have a train ride next weekend, so I have time to work on my dad's and my sweater. But really just try to finish up some of those so that I can cast on either something I got in Zurich or, you know, work on Jared's sweater. I don't know. I do have to start thinking because I have, you know, a flight back to the States and I'm going to need some travel projects, and I got to figure out what I'm going to work on when I'm in Ohio because I don't have a lot of space to take stuff, and so I'll have to start figuring all that out here soon. I'll probably work on that this weekend and see, but yeah, I'll be sharing all of that, how I travel with my knits, what I end up taking home to Ohio, and yeah. So that's all for this week. Short, sweet, to the point, short-ish, 36 minutes. So yeah, I'll see you guys next week for hopefully another update, and yeah, hopefully my sock machine will be here. So fingers crossed. Talk soon.